According to a Bloomberg report, Chinese President Xi Jinping wrote a secret letter to Indian officials amid the Trump tariff showdown. Xi's letter raised concerns about any US trade deals that would harm China's interests, helped pave way for improved Beijing-Delhi ties is the pitch that is coming in from this Bloomberg report, where it seems that the Trump tariff storm has led to this new power dynamic between India and China, where China is looking to India not as an adversary, as we saw after the Galwan clash, but as someone to partner with to weather this entire storm, to create a stable economic order in Asia, is the pitch that's coming in from this Bloomberg report. And I'm joined by my colleague Anand Narasimhan on the broadcast. So Anand, clearly this indicates what we've been seeing, the signs in the past few weeks, where China now wants to partner with India to weather this entire storm, pretty much create that kind of alliance within the BRICS nations to take on this mercurial economic policy coming out of the Trump administration.
Good evening, Ayushman, and to our viewers. Should direct your attention back to a tweet or a post on X by the ambassador of China to Bharat, Zhao Feihong, on the 1st of April 2025. That's when there was confirmation that President Xi Jinping had written to President Draupadi Murmu. So the exchange happened between the presidents of the two nations, and it was initiated, as Bloomberg has reported today on the 28th. There is confirmation of this from about 3 months back. And what we are given to understand is at that time itself, Xi Jinping had made the first overture to try and signal a thaw between the two neighbors, given what Trump's attitude was. And at that time, remember, in April, Bharat was not in the eye of the storm as much. There was talk, and 2nd of April, there was some negotiation, and there was an additional tariff rate of 10% that was added. But it was China which was seeing about 145% tariff being imposed on it. And there were things were really getting wishes between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping. But at that time, China had already foreseen that Trump's tariff war could snowball into a huge regional escalation, and perhaps the first indication coming in from the Dragon. Now, the report by Bloomberg, but more importantly, if we were to go back to revert to that tweet by the China ambassador to Bharat, Zhao Feihong, also talks about the fact that they are two ancient civilizations, and there is a civilizational relationship that needs to be underlined and also perhaps enhanced further, saying that both sides should view and handle China-Indian relations from a strategic and long-term perspective and seek ways for neighboring major countries to get along in a peaceful coexistence, mutual trust and mutual benefit, and common development, and jointly push forward multipolarization and democracy in international relations. Now, this is what, and then he's further written there that President Xi expressed his readiness to work with President Murmu, taking the 75th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic relations between the two nations as an opportunity to promote strategic mutual trust, strengthen exchanges and cooperation in various fields, and further on. Perhaps the biggest hint that was dropped, saying that China is willing to try and reduce the hostilities and the barriers that had been pushed post-Galwan between the two nations, and to try and engage in a more constructive manner. Now, Bharat took its time. It was only by about June that Bharat's response and this engagement and this letter to President Draupadi Murmu, the rapprochement and the mood of the Chinese was also communicated to Seven Lok Kalyan Marg. So Prime Minister's office and Prime Minister Narendra Modi was also made aware. If you were to remember, if you were to recall, at that time, around the same time, there were a series of meetings and calling-ons which happened between the two leaders, between the President's office, the Prime Minister's office, the Home Minister, and also the Foreign Minister and Rashtrapati Bhavan. So all of that perhaps now falls into place, saying that there were indications that had come from the Chinese, let's talk, let's settle matters. And then thereafter, Wang Yi meets Dr. Jaishankar, Ajit Doval travels. There is an engagement on the sidelines there. So slowly the engagement started building, and suddenly we see acceleration towards a normalization, or perhaps getting into a settled equation where we are neither friends nor enemies, but what we do is we cooperate, compete and collaborate where required. And I think that is an equation which Bharat is willing to understand, especially if certain pain points in terms of the border are also arrived at towards a settlement, and there is a long-term discussion. The fact is that the Chinese are in for the long game. Bharat also needs to see the long game. And in the near term, Bharat needs a certain level of support and trade with China, especially when it comes to small tech, when it comes to APIs and other critical, metals, critical imports which are required to fuel Bharat's growth story. So this is something which perhaps President Trump has been able to achieve, where he's put two nations which were colliding with each other into looking at cooperating and collaborating with each other.
Absolutely. This has created a diplomatic and economic reset when it comes to the global south and the order in which India can take the lead. Thank you, Anand, for decoding that for us.